Today we are doing the all request episode, which is something new. Even our logo that is showing up in the beginning is a fan-made thing. That will be in the description, along with the names of the people who actually posted this, because I am going to mispronounce some, I'm sure, and I apologize for that ahead of time. Let's jump into the requests. You guys are the best. First, I'm going to do a little clearing at the queue. These are requests that were made a long time ago, and it's roads that I've either not gotten to yet or will probably never get to. So let's do that first. Our first request is I-290. I will do that one day, but I don't know when. This was requested by the Melon Man, so thank you. And this is the Austin Boulevard exit, a left exit on 290. Always causes a lot of traffic with that weird left exit when I've driven on it in the past. Our next request is the Mountain Parkway in Kentucky, requested by CSXEK. This viewer wanted to see exit 16 of the Mountain Parkway. I'll probably not get to the Mountain Parkway, so here's the request now. Thanks so much. This is Strattonville, Pennsylvania, and it was requested by Jeff Banks, specifically US 322 in Strattonville. Thank you so much. He requested because he used to live there and he has family in many places on 322. I-380 in Pennsylvania, exit 20, Vaca Teeth 48. I'm sure I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but thank you. Requested because there are the best subs on earth at 307502 and he lives there. You're watching Control City Freak. This is the YouTube channel where we talk about highways and the places that they're signed to go to and have requests. If you dig this kind of content, why not give us a like? And if you really like it, why not subscribe? Yeah, subscribe. I'm going to talk about roads that I've already covered, so you can see all of these roads in my back catalog on the channel. I'm going to go in numerical order here, first by interstate. So this is on I-4, exit 68 at Florida 535. This was requested by Andy Sorenson, so thank you. It is an exit for his old apartment in Orlando. This was actually part of the Indiana 16 giveaway. I gave away 20 free requests, so this is the first one of those. So congratulations to the winners on that. Our next request is on I-10, California exit 94 for Beaumont Avenue by Interstate 13 on the Patreon because his grandparents live near there. Thank you. We're on I-20 in Texas now, exit 330 by Dylan Hodge. So thanks for that. Requested that because when family comes from Dallas, they take this Route 206 to US 67 to get to San Angelo. Now we've got several requests for I-26. Our first I-26 request is in Columbia at I-77. This was requested by Boss King Inc. because there is no direction listed for I-77. If you go eastbound on 26, we do get a direction listed for 77, but westbound we do not. And that's the only time he's seen such a thing. Thank you. This is Sam's Gap in the Tri-Cities in Tennessee, in that area, requested by CforCat, so thank you. It's by far his favorite road, and he only lives about 20 miles from here up in Johnson City. He gets to drive through this all the time when driving down to Charlotte. Simply God's creation, I tell you, is what he says. It's a beautiful road, I-26. This is in Charleston. The view you get from the Ravenel, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, bridge eastbound on I-26. I actually went one better. I went for the flyover ramp above I-26 because you get a better view up there of that bridge than I-26 itself, at least on street view. This was requested by Inkedsharkyt. I hope I'm saying that right. He had a great trip there this summer, and this was the first impression of the city when coming in on I-26. But thanks for that. I-30 in Texarkana. This is exit 223, so that's actually a Texas numbering, but we are still in Arkansas. It even has the shape of Arkansas on the bridge. And this was requested by Boss King Inc., who always found this one unusual, and thank you. These requests come from a variety of places. We've had some that were Patreon people and some that were Super Thanks people. Anybody can join the Patreon for $5 a month and you can request points of interest on episodes in the future. And if this does numbers, maybe we'll do another all request show. You can also make exit requests the old-fashioned way by doing a $5 super sticker on any video for what you want to see in a future video that I'm actually going to be doing. And I appreciate everybody who does both of those. Next up, we go to I-39, and this is for Illinois 64 in Oregon and Sycamore. A boss of mine actually was from Oregon, Illinois. He was a good guy. This was requested by saturnotaku, who is actually the person who came up with the idea for this request episode. If you like this episode, then he is a big reason why this thing came together to begin with. So thanks so much for that request and for the idea. No surprise, we've got requests on I-40, North Carolina 283 eastbound, This was requested by BevGeek, so thank you. He wanted to see this junction with 540 because he takes this exit quite a bit, and it has the ridiculous control city of Raleigh North. If you look back at 2022, there was no such thing on this. In 2022, we see we have an absurd laundry list of all the highways that we connect to. Here is exit 298 in North Carolina on I-40. This was requested by TheDerpHog, one of his many requests, and I appreciate all those. Thanks so much. 401 goes through his town about 15 miles south of Raleigh. And our last I-40 request, this was requested by Leo because this is a special route to introduce there, 701. So thank you. We move on to I-43, and this was requested by Tegan. I don't want to attempt the last name because I am going to absolutely butcher it, but you can find the name down in the description here. And thank you. This is exit 72C, and it's not really on I-43 itself. You find it by coming off of I-94, following the ramp for I-43, but you can't get to it directly from I-43. He takes this exit every day coming home from work as an alternate from what the GPS says, since there's less traffic. Staying with I-43, now we get exit 97 for Wisconsin Route 57, requested by saturnotaku because it is the easiest way to get to the Road America racetrack, which he is a big fan of. This year marks the 20th in a row that he's been going there for events, so that's awesome. Thank you. I-64, and this is from E&B, and this is an access road for a naval base that he drove every day, so thank you. This is in Norfolk, Virginia. This is a pretty interesting route right here, 564 just going right into the naval base. Next up is saturnotaku, exit 53 on I-65 for the Saturn Parkway, and that is where the first half of his username comes from the now defunct car brand. He always loved the car brand company and even spent a summer working at a local dealer. On his first road trip on his own in 2003, it's what he drove. He also went to visit the assembly plant here and took a tour. So that assembly plant builds Cadillacs now since they no longer make Saturns. Thank you. Here's an exit I've seen a few times. This is I-65 meeting US 30 in the Merrillville area in northwest Indiana. This was requested by saturnotaku because this was a regular exit of his. He got into a bad accident on the Borman, and then he would bypass it by taking US 30 into 394 instead of the Borman. And most of the time that ended up being faster than 8094, which I can definitely understand. So thank you. Next we go to I-68. This was requested by Dallas Bittinger, so thank you. This is right near the West Virginia and Maryland line, and this is 32 miles from a paper mill in the city of Luke that no longer exists. And he says this is why Frostburg is the control city going west out of Cumberland. I just assumed it was because of Western Maryland University, but this could be a reason as well. Next, this is right off of I-68, Dallas Bittinger. Another exit for Maryland 495, which is what this road is, but I decided to show the road itself, Maryland 495, and this sign, because I think this is more what he was looking for. This is a sign for the city of Bittinger, which is closely related to his family. So thank you. I have a friend by that name as well. I wonder if there's any relation. From TheDerpHog, so thank you. And he wanted to see Colorado 119 because it is signed for a place called No Name, which I thought was a pretty funny name. I agree. I-71, Ohio 73 for Waynesville, requested by E&B. He grew up there and his parents lived there. Thanks for that request. I-74 in Illinois, exit 135, requested by saturnotaku. This is the way his family goes to visit the Decatur area. Thank you. Continuing on I-74, we're in Indiana now. Green Bean, thank you. It is for the city of Greensburg, which is his hometown, or her hometown. Green Bean and Greensburg. Interesting. This is the other exit for Greensburg, an overhead sign, and it was also requested by Green Bean, so thank you. We've got the overhead for both exits 134A and B. On I-75 in Georgia, this billboard, Boss King Inc., he thought the billboard was pretty funny. I agree. In dog beers, that's pretty good. We're on I-75, and this is exit 38 in Ohio for Franklin and Springboro. This was requested by Brandon Long because he lives there. Thank you. We've got 2 requests for this one, and I can't believe I didn't do it on the I-75 video originally, that I missed it going both ways. Big Beaver Road, exit 69. That is so perfect. It's requested by Andrew Weishaar because it's a funny name. Thank you. Going in the other direction, description, was also requested by Benjamin Realy, again because it is a funny name. Thank you. We're on to I-76 eastbound in Akron, and this was requested by Jason Fleshman, so thank you. And that was his exit growing up. And if you look to the left of the sign, the ugly brick building there is where he went to middle school, and it looks abandoned because it probably is. Next, we've got another request from Leo, US 219 in Somerset. It is listed for 219, but it's really Pennsylvania 601 that you're meeting here, and it's 3 miles to 219, the most indirect interchange he's ever seen. Thank you, and it is pretty funny. I looked at the map here, and you can see the exit is quite a long ways from 219, which is in the upper right corner there, to go through city streets before you get to 219. Our next exit was requested by New York Rambler, so thank you. Exit 71 on I-78 in Pennsylvania, and it's his new favorite exit. That road takes him to his parents' retirement house. Next, we have a request of I-79 from Sargon, so thank you. And he is requesting exit 60 for Route 60. That's pretty cool. That's the way he always takes when he returns from Myrtle Beach. From Sargon, also I-79, also in Pennsylvania, exit 73 for Wexford. When he goes to Erie, goes back by this exit. He doesn't know why he gets hyped. Maybe it's because the speed limit is jumping from 55 to 65 right around this area. Thanks for that request. Finally, Sargon also requested US 19 in West Virginia, another exit off of I-79, exit 57, because it's a nice and beautiful road, and he travels it going to Myrtle Beach. Thank you, Sargon. Next, I-80, requested by New York Ramblers, so thank you, and this is in Tannerville, Pennsylvania. This is an outlet mall that he went to a lot as a kid. Dallas Bittinger made this request on I-80 in Pennsylvania, so thank you, and he wanted to show that I-80 does actually show New York City somewhere in Pennsylvania. The one little thing that Pennsylvania does right. Still on I-80, but we've jumped over to Iowa. Exit Iowa 164 was requested by WhitePoleRoad, so thank you. It is his hometown exit, and he visited the east end of US 6 on his honeymoon and is visiting the west end next summer to Bishop, California, I guess. We'll be visiting both of those before too long here. We'll have a proper US 6 video, or several. Boss King Inc. requested Iowa 80, the world's largest truck stop, so thank you. He loves stopping there. I've stopped there a few times myself. Fun place. Still on I-80 in Nebraska, exit 454. We go long in Nebraska on I-80. Itme 999. I don't know if I'm saying that right. This request was from quite a while ago as well. Thank you. Next up, we've got a request from Bruce Telfeyan. The I-76 split off from I-80, the beginning of I-76, where we get Sydney, Cheyenne on one side and Denver on the other. So thank you, Bruce. He says that he advocates for the sign for I-76 to show Denver, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles, and the sign for I-80 showing Cheyenne, Salt Lake City, and San Francisco. And there could be mileage signs along the way, like Denver 187, Las Vegas 932, Los Angeles 1199, things like that. His reasoning is because this exit is one of the few in the country where there's a major split off that provides a choice for going to major population centers. It exists in the empty high plains of Nebraska, where you might not expect to have such a choice presented. Interesting ideas. I'd actually love to see those control cities up on that board. I think that'd be awesome. Or if you're only going to put two, put 80 Cheyenne, San Francisco, and 76 Denver and Los Angeles. I-84, we are in Portland, and this is exit 2 in Oregon. John Chahl, and it's his home exit. Thank you. I-85 is what we're looking at now, and this is the Davis Travel Plaza, requested by TheDerpHog, and he's been there a few times. Thank you for that, and I decided instead of showing the exit that I just show the Davis Travel Plaza itself. This was requested by Big Boss Q. We are in the Atlanta area. He wanted to see the exit off of I-85 for Hapeville, and he took a trip there, and that's where his Airbnb was right in Hapeville, so thank you. Next on I-85, we're in Alabama, exit 70 for Lafayette, or based on the spelling, I'm guessing it's Lafayette. This was requested by Tysontransitcam, so thank you. He wanted to show downtown Lafayette as well, but I only have so much time, so one slide per request. Next on I-88, we get Illinois exit 123 for 59 right in Elgin, which they don't say, but they should. I complained about that in the I-88 video. This was requested by saturnotaku, so thank you for that. He lives just south of this exit, and when he was there, he met his wife via a dating site, and it turns out she lived in an apartment complex less than 5 minutes away from where he was living at the time, so hey, that's awesome. I had a similar thing, I guess. I met my wife originally on vacation, and it turned out she was staying at the hotel next door to mine. We move on to I-90. This is Illinois exit 42 for US 20, the great US 20. We'll get there one day. saturnotaku lived in Hampshire, and this was his home exit, so thank you. Pickleme wanted to show this exit for Lyman, Lyman, but they don't list it on the sign. This is South Dakota exit 241 on I-90. They don't list anything at all. I think that's, I don't know, maybe an upgrade over Lyman is just to have a sign that literally says nothing. Although, I feel like maybe they should sign Lyman instead of just an arrow. Thank you for that request. That's a fun one. Next up, we go to I-95, and this is a main scenic overlook, which shows the mountain pretty well here. Requested by Mark HB1. So thank you. Mark also requested this sign on I-95 in Maine, so thanks for that. This sign's no longer there, and it was just south of exit 42. He says it is an impossibly complicated These Cities, These Exits sign that formerly stood on northbound Maine Turnpike. This is actually in 2018, but in 2019 it was already gone. On I-95, we've got Kenly, North Carolina, and the Kenly truck stop on Truck Stop Road. This was requested by TheDerpHog. He says it's an awesome truck stop he likes to visit, so thank you for that. And he actually sent the pictures in for that, so that's why I put his pictures right there. New York Rambler requested this on I-95 in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania exit 37 for Street Road. I mean, come on, name the street. What is it, a street or a road? Give it a name. That is the exit for the Parks Casino, so thank you. Still on I-95, now we're down in Florida. Captain Brian made this request, so thanks for that. Florida exit 56. He always has to drop his best friend off here, and it leads directly to the abandoned Boynton Beach Mall. And there's some cool bird art on the wall here, and we can see some of that bird art in this picture. Moving on to US highways that I've already covered. US 40 I covered pretty recently. This is requested by Jeff Reedy in Clayton, Ohio, Diamond Mill Road. So thanks for that request. He wanted to say if you drive 15 miles south on Diamond Mill Road, you'll run into his hometown and a block from where his apartment is now. Grew up in the town of Germantown, which is a nice town in Ohio with Ohio's second oldest hotel, the Florentine. I would assume the oldest hotel would be in Marietta, since everybody tells me that's Ohio's oldest city. Next on I-476, the Lehigh Tunnel. This is requested by Boss King Ig, so thanks for that. He wanted to point out how the northbound is square and the southbound is round. The square tube is older and they were constructed using different methods. Bertifarius Rex made this request, so thanks for that. We are on the Long Island Expressway 495 in Long Island. Exit 61, this is his home exit, and he thinks that I'll like the names there, and yeah, I am not going to attempt to pronounce those. Not too far off the LIE, we got the GSP, the Garden State Parkway in neighboring New Jersey, exit 41, requested by New York Rambler. He gets off this as a toll-free route to get to Atlantic City. Thanks so much. A request from tysontransitcam, who wanted to see Plum Beach off the Belt Parkway in New York City. Thanks for that, and that's pretty cool. There's that beach just right off the freeway. This picture is taken from the freeway itself, between miles 9 and 11. The Belt Parkway, once again, exit 24A, was requested by Tyson Transit Cam. Thank you for that, because of the sharp turnoff at this exit. It is very sharp. It's almost just like a 90-degree turn. Next category of roads that we're going to do is roads that I haven't covered yet, but I almost certainly will in the future. This is the category I was warning about a little bit, but all of the people on here wanted to have these requests in this episode and not in the future one. First off, we've got I-215 in California in the Inland Empire. Exit 15 is for California Highway 74 for Hemet, requested by Daniel Barbier because he lives in Hemet and has been to this exit many times. Thank you. Exit 5 off of 225 in the Denver area. This is in Aurora, Colorado, requested by Thomas Smith, and he grew up less than a mile away from here, and it's changed a lot in the past decade, and there's light rail. You can see the tracks right there in the picture, so that's pretty cool that they got rail running through the suburbs of Denver. So thank you for that. This is from Patrick Gast. He wanted to see 287 North in the New York City area, where the Royals and Yankees will be playing in the ALDS right around when this drops, so that's pretty cool. Go Royals. Thank you, 287 North, Mawa. I tried so hard. New Jersey exit 47, also on 287 for US 202, requested by Shrikar Iyer. Thank you. This is Shrikar's hometown. This section from exit 47 to 53 is beautiful, overlooking a mountain viaduct, and you can go 100 miles an hour at night. And the Boontown Reservoir is also beautiful there. We'll get to 287 one day for sure. Next request is for I-295 in Jacksonville. I'll probably do that road the next time the Chiefs play the Jaguars. This was requested by Kira Sprague. This is the interchange that she took for college. So thanks for that request. Next, we've got I-376 in Pittsburgh, requested by David Cameron. Thank you. About a mile past here, you end up in the Fort Pitt Tunnel, and then you get a glorious view of the Pittsburgh skyline when you come out, but he didn't request that because it looks a lot better in person than it does on Street View. I can attest to that. I have driven through that, and the view of Pittsburgh coming out of the tunnel is fantastic. Chris Lewis, thanks for that. He wanted US 29. This is just off of US 29, the Fernbank Science Center in Decatur, Georgia. I decided to just show the Science Center itself instead of US 29 near it. He went to this museum on field trips as a kid. US 1, which we definitely will get to at some point, the intersection with 192, was requested by Andrew Weishaar. This is the nearest way to the beach from right here. We see East Beaches and A1A. A1A. We've got 3 requests for the same exit for US 46 from Yankees 107. Ooh, Yankees 107. I'd rather get one from Royals 107, but yeah. You guys will probably beat us anyway. This interchange in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey. Coming from US 46 West, we are getting New Jersey 17 South for Newark. So kind of normal, right? But you get off the ramp, and this is what it looks like. It is a hairpin beyond a hairpin curve as you merge into Highway 17. So there's no acceleration lane, and drivers are forced to stop, turn around, and make sure no one's coming, and then immediately go 0 to 60 to catch up with freeway grade traffic. The control cities were interesting just a bit beyond there. It did have Newark listed as well. That seems like too much even for Mario Kart or something like that. Yankees 107 wanted to see that interchange from above. It looks, well, as ridiculous as it did there. I have no idea how that actually was ever built in the United States of America, or really any country. Thanks for those requests. That was fun to look at. Next, we've got US 61 in Hastings, Minnesota from Mystic Puffy. This is Mystic Puffy's home intersection, so thank you. Eric Odenius requested this. This is US 169 southbound in Lee Sewer, Minnesota. This is the exit to the Valley of the Jolly Green Giant, as the billboard will tell you when you're going down the big hill to the exit. While going down this hill, you have a marvelous view of the Minnesota River Valley, and you're just 10 miles from Gustavus Adolphus College, which is his connection to this. So it's scenic and residence for anyone who remembers the Jolly Green Giant commercials. Great request all around. Thank you. Next, this is California 210 in the Inland Empire, Upland specifically, requested by Interstate 13. Thank you. The exit for Campus Avenue because his old house is right over there, possibly just out of frame. Ontario, the very famous 401, signed for London, and this is the exit for 403 and 410 westbound, requested by Fred Harriet, and this is the way to the Queen Elizabeth Way and to Brampton. So thank you. Our last category we're going to be doing is roads that I haven't covered before, and I likely never will cover them. So this is kind of my only chance to talk about these roads. First off, this was requested by Colonel Potter. This is of the 47 and 347 New Jersey split. This is southbound of 47, and we can see 347 in the background there is heading to the left. This is 47 heading in the other direction, so if you turn right, you'll be on 347, and if you turn left, 47 will take over 347. Let's get a closer look at that once we actually get to the stoplight. An interesting meeting of roads here. Thanks for that. And next, we've got Boss King Inc., who wanted to see this billboard of I Hate Steven Singer, and this is in Philly, so thanks for that request. Don't know who Steven Singer is, but kind of a funny billboard. This is I-270 in Columbus, where it meets US 33 at exit 17. This was requested by Leo because he has relatives in the Columbus suburbs, and this is their exit. So thank you. Next up, this was requested from Blaine K, and this is the southern terminus of Idaho 77 spur. He says he's never seen a state route spur that ends at 2 dirt roads. We are very far out in the wilderness of Idaho here. This is in Almo, Idaho. Thanks for that request. Also from Blaine K, thank you for this. We've got a picture of the Galena Summit, which connects the Snake River Valley to Stanley and the backcountry of the Sawtooth Mountains, and there are great views. This is on Idaho 75. Here is the Bourne Bridge in Massachusetts, requested by Mark HB1, so thanks for that. This is a bridge over the Cape Cod Canal. Cape Cod truly begins after crossing this bridge, according to Mark. This is the Bourne Rotary right over the Bourne Bridge, requested by Pat, so thanks for that. Pat actually wanted me to do all of Massachusetts 25, but I can't do an entire road within the middle of an all request episode. I asked him which specific place, and he never got back to me, so I'm going with this. We're back in Canada. This is in Quebec, and exit 42 for the A30. This was requested by Boss King Inc., so thank you. Quebec is better at signing the borders than the other provinces by naming the state and the highway, and I agree, this is pretty good signage in Quebec. This was also requested by Boss King Inc. We are on US 220 in Maryland, and we're going to be meeting I-68 in 1.5 miles, and we have this warning, 1.5 miles, stoplight. He finds it a little bit over dramatic, especially because about 90% of traffic is going to take 68 west, which is before the light. You're going to turn before the light. Thanks for that. Alexis Piazza requests the Muncie, Indiana bypass, which I might actually do one day because it's part of US 35. It's possible I might get to this one. This is the Memorial Drive exit. Alexis says that you grew up less than a mile away from there, near the intersection of Country Club Road and Memorial Drive, near the Academy of Model Aeronautics. So thank you, Muncie in the house. We're still in Indiana. This is Indiana Highway 8 and its interchange with I-69, requested by Josh Owens, cause the 69 North sign still has US 27 listed, but US 27 ends in Fort Wayne, has been truncated to there and no longer makes it up to here. And he also says the Paradise Buffet in Auburn is good, so thank you. Next, we're going back to Canada. This is Ontario 403. Andy Broonwood's request. Thank you for that, because many years ago, this intersection was the only one that listed his town of Woodstock as a control city, coming in off the interchange, and every other road on 403 was signed for London. This one is signed for London now, but he has a fond attachment of Oak Park Road. This was requested by Boss King Inc., and we are in Massachusetts. We have this kind of weird thickly settled sign. Boss King says thickly settled in this language means densely populated. I've never seen one of those, but I guess that's a Massachusetts thing. But thank you. We're back in Columbus again. This is the end of I-670 where it meets I-270, requested by Noah Brody. He grew up off that exit, so thanks for that request. North Carolina 885, meeting 540 at its south end. This was requested by Joaquin Delotte, so thanks for that request. It gives the direction away from Raleigh, no control cities at all, when there's a few suburbs that could be signed, such as Samford, but it's not signed anymore. Next, Ryland Television has this request for I-565 in Huntsville, Alabama, and this is where one would find the U.S. Space and Rocket Center and Space Camp. Well, we've got rockets right there in that exit, so that's pretty awesome. Huntsville, Rocket City. So thank you. It's requested by Boss King Inc., and this is the 475 bypass of Macon. And he says if you are going to encourage someone to take a bypass route, this is the way to do it, by putting the other control signs up there. I'd say it'd be even better if you put 475 South Bypass Tampa, you know? That would even encourage people more so than seeing Valdosta up there, because if you're not from the area, you don't know what that is anyway, most likely. Thanks for that request. Next up, this was requested by Napier V6, so thank you. And this is California 58, westbound at exit 199, and this was his childhood hometown. His grandma's house can be seen in the distance. It's his Indiana 16. This was requested by The Real Tony, so thank you. And this is I-295 in Fayetteville, meeting the All-American Freeway, and he takes this exit a lot, and 295 is his nearest beltway. And finally, this is requested by Boss King Inc. This is the lowest clearance of any bridge he could find, 511. That's really, really low for clearance for a car under this railroad bridge. This is in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Maloney Road in Knoxville. So that's an awesome one, and a fun one to end with. All right, thank you so much for everybody who made these requests. I'm going to show my scroll of my spreadsheet that I made because it was a pretty big undertaking. This was a lot of fun. If this does numbers, like I said, we will do it again sometime in the future. If not, then we won't. I will let the market decide there. Next week, we've got 280 in San Francisco. Requests would be closed for that already, but we've got other stuff on tap. Keep checking the community tab and I'll keep you updated. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Control City Freak. My name is Todd, and until next time, keep on trucking.